Hey there, everybody. How's it going? Welcome back to another awesome episode of On the Throttle with Jacqui Van Ham and my buddy Josh Trokey out here bringing you all of the breaking news going on out here in motorcycles and power sports. Welcome back to another great episode. This one, Josh, is just action packed. We have so much going on today's program. Buckle up, eat your Wheaties, make a snack because you're not going to want to miss any of today's show. We've got a great interview with a friend of mine, Tex Mawby from Merlin Motorcycle Apparel going on in the middle of today's program. We also have several news stories going on. It is just loads of action out here. My first stories for today, Josh, I'm going to be talking about the British are coming. The British are coming. And this time with an electric motorcycle that's making its way over to the United States and some spy pics from the folks at Moto Guzzi. What do you got going on in your neck of the woods, Josh?
I've got two interesting things today as well. So, I mean, any one of us that ride dual sport type-ish of stuff, we want 10 tires. We want to bring 10 tires along. One for when we're on the street, one for when we're in mud, one for when we're on gravel, one for... We may have a solution to some of this. And on top of that, I have a great way to spend your October and $350.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear that, but we're all going to have to wait after this word from our sponsors.
For all of your motorcycle ATV and UTV oil requirements, be sure to run Pen Grade 1. The unique base oil cut utilized in the original green oil and the enhanced levels of anti-wear additives provide strong protection while reducing internal friction for increased horsepower output under the most demanding conditions. Pen Grade 1 is proud to be made in the USA.
Cycle Trader, the nation's top marketplace for buying and selling motorcycles, just got even better. In the ever-expanding digital world, online shopping only continues to grow. With Cycle Trader's new digital retailing experience, Cycle Trader Buy Now, consumers can buy their next motorcycle 100% online, meaning the richest leads in the industry for dealers with faster closing and reduced overhead. Learn more at www.cycletradermediakit.com/buy-now. Huge thanks to Cycle Trader Buy Now and Pengrade for jumping in to be today's beginning show sponsors. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the program, we have just got an action-packed show coming your way. My very first story for today, let's go ahead and jump on in. Josh, I have a very exciting motorcycle that is going to be making its way over to the United States that you probably haven't even ever heard of. And this is a very cool British-built Maeving EV bike. Let's go ahead and learn all about it. The folks at Maeving have just recently released some interesting statistics and interesting information. They've announced that sales are expanding into Europe, with bikes soon to be available in France, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. This is an incredibly exciting time for all of us at Maeving. We knew we wanted to perfect our direct-to-consumer operational model in our first year, so have until now focused on just the UK. We now feel we've accomplished this and are ready to offer the UK's first British-built electric motorcycle to a wider audience. We all want Maeving to be a British success story, and bringing zero-emissions urban transport to as many people as possible is a big part of what we set out to achieve. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is not only is this a super cool bike, and I've got a couple more slides that we can take a look at, I also wanted to bring this up because looking further ahead, the company says you'll be able to buy bikes in the USA in the third quarter of 2023 with deliveries in the last 3 months of the year. I also thought these bikes were really interesting because stylistically, Josh, I think they are so cool looking. I think these just have such a great bobber cafe racer type vibe going on with them. The price tag for these hovers around 6,000 pounds. So we're right around maybe like 6,000 and some change US dollars. I also love the fact that this has one of my most favorite things to talk about in the EV community, which is dual swappable batteries. I love that. Look at the slide on your screen. There is one that goes into the gas tank, as it were, even though that's not gas, that's where the battery goes. And then that side panel pops out and your second battery lives in there. That is how these machines are able to have such impressive statistics as far as their range. The internet is telling me that these guys top out at about 45 miles per hour and have a range of approximately 80 miles. Josh, what do you got to say about these cool looking bikes from the folks at Maeving?
To me, I really do like him. And I mean, they have finally, I mean, they're one of the ones that have figured out their niche and have gone directly after it. This says urban bike all over it. It's got a very, I guess I would call it hipster design to a certain extent. You're going to see these in front of coffee shops. Now, the things from a design standpoint that I really like about it that to me, I mean, kind of point to that urban design are, like you said, those dual removable batteries. We know in so many of these places, these people are parking these in garages or storage buildings that don't necessarily have electricity. You can run a lot of battery if you can use two of them, so that way a human can carry them instead of having to be a strong man in order to take your batteries out. The other thing that I really like about these two is that this is a hub motor setup. What that does is that eliminates all of your drivetrain stuff. So now you're not worried about maintenance on stuff or anything like that. This is truly for someone that is going to throw it in a storage shed and forget about it other than when they're riding it and throwing the batteries in it. I think they've really done their research. I think they're onto something with this. I'm excited to see these, and I definitely, I'd rock that all day long. I'd have to roll up my pants or something like that, and I need a different look. But yeah, I'd rock it.
Yeah, I don't know if the vibe is exactly you, Josh, but it
Not
definitely
exactly me.
is me. And I think these are great. Also, just to put the icing on the cake, these do run off of a standard socket, standard outlets. These require no extra weird adapters and things and stuff. We just plug these guys in to charge. I think that they're just really clever, and they're right in that sweet spot as far as price goes, as far as the range and the speed of these and the styling of these. I think they're a total slam dunk. I can't wait to see them live and in person here in the U.S. later on into 2023. Josh, what you got for your first story today?
So Dunlop has tried their best to make the tire that actually all of us want. And like I said, normally us dual sport guys, we want 10 different tires along. Little inconvenient. There's a lot of BMW GS riders that you'll see where they have enough luggage where you're like, did they bring along 10 spare tires? But nonetheless, Dunlop has gone with a really new 50/50 tire that really it takes from their D908RR tire is where they got the inspiration. And that was back in 2005. That's a great tire. The new one, if you look here, the 2023 tire, you can see a lot of similarities on it. We mentioned this briefly before that there was a possibility of this tire coming to the US. It is. And I'm frankly excited about it. This is a 50/50 tire. Its main focus is what I will call the mid to plus sized adventure touring bikes. This tire, like I said, it is a throwback to the 908RR in terms of its lug design. The thing that I really liked about this, in most of Dunlop's literature on this tire, they said it prioritizes wet grip. So obviously you can see that this tire is going to do decent off-road. It's got big enough blocks that it's going to do well on-road. Anytime you get chunky knobbies like this, wet grip is always an issue. So this tire actually has a new polymer blend with a high silica content in it, which is going to give us that wet grip. The tires have the blocks between the knobbies on this, whereas the 908 doesn't. Those blocks in there are to help to reduce flex. And also, as you see those longer blocks in the center there, that is there to help reduce road noise. Once again, it's a little bit of a sacrifice off-road, but if you're staying on the road a lot more, which most of those bikes are, it's a sacrifice you're more than willing to make, so that way you don't lose your hearing because of the tires. With this, they have versions in 19 and 21-inch for the front. They're going to have 17 and 18-inch rear sizes, and these will be available to dealerships at the end of the month. To me, once again, I think Dunlop's got a great heritage. They're building off of it, and you can see some of the way it comes over. Would you put one of these on the Maeving there, Jacqui? Or I mean, yeah. I don't know if it's a fit, but it might be.
I mean, it's definitely a fit for me. I do love some chunky tires on inappropriate bikes for sure. But all jokes aside, I really would put this on a Maeving. But no, all jokes aside, I think that the 50/50 tire is so desired, needed. This space is just crying out. Yeah, and underrated. I mean, it's right tire, right time, right company. Right. Slam dunk from Dunlop. I love to see it. I mean, I got nothing but good stuff for him. So congratulations to those folks bringing that tire over. I'm sure an awful lot of BMW folks who are lugging around their espresso makers in the back are going to be really excited about this extra grip that this tire provides. So thank you to that. So my next story for today, like I said, today is a huge episode within an episode within an episode. I have got a story about spy pics from Moto Guzzi, but first we have an interview with my friend Michael Mawby, who goes by Tex Mawby from Merlin Motorcycle Apparel. I had a chance to talk to him, so we're going to jump into that. But before we get to that, we've got a couple more words from our sponsors.
The road can throw a lot at you, but you can depend on Heidenau Tires to see you through it. Quality, made in Germany. For more info, go to HeidenauTires.com.
Switching to pay-per-mile insurance can save you up to 60% on your insurance. Ideal for multiple bike owners, weekend riders, and those of us out here with a shorter riding season, right? Why am I paying a sunshine tax? No tracking or hardware is required. VOOM uses a mobile app for convenient upload of the odometer. It is available in Arizona, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Missouri, Texas, Tennessee, Colorado, Alabama, and Oregon, with more states being added as we grow. For more info, head to VOOMinsurance.com. So thanks again to our sponsors. Now let's go ahead and jump on into this interview with Tex Mawby from Merlin Motorcycle Apparel. Hey there, MPN. Welcome my next guest to the program. I'm really excited to have Tex Mawby, Country Manager of North America for Merlin Motorcycle Apparel, for today's guest. Welcome to the show, Tex.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about what is going on out here in motorcycling. I know that you are in apparel. Obviously, right now you work for Merlin Motorcycle Apparel, but you've been involved with several apparel companies, and this is totally your strong suit. So I figured in order to chat with somebody about who knows what's going on at the dealership, what's going on with apparel sales, all that good stuff, I figured you were just the right person to talk to. So I wanted to pick your brain a little bit because I talk to dealerships, I talk to folks out here in the industry, and there's a lot of it's honestly like a coin toss of what's going on with the state of the business today. But the one thing I'm hearing from a lot of people is that there's a situation going on around supply chain issue. And we've heard that for the past handful of years. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you think is going on with supply chain issue as it regards to apparel at motorcycle dealerships?
Certainly. As you've illustrated, I've been blessed to work for a number of premium motorcycle apparel brands. Been doing this for a little over 15 years. And what I'm seeing is that there really isn't a problem with sales. It's just reset back to pre-pandemic levels. So over the past few years of the pandemic, we had it was great for our industry, but it was an artificial bump. Americans didn't matter where they were living in the United States. They wanted an activity that was safe, that could get them out of the confines of their home and lockdown. And motorcycling was it. So for existing riders or new riders or even re-entry riders, they either went out and purchased a new motorcycle or dusted off and refreshed an old bike that they had in a garage or in a shed. And so, of course, that led to lots of accessories being sold, lots of parts to get these old bikes back into good running order. And so, again, the industry, celebrated in all those sales. The free government stimulus money is gone, and things have just gone back to, normal levels. So it started happening in 22, and sales started to plateau and then decline. And so the supply chain actually caught up. And so now what dealerships are experiencing is they had been purchasing at pandemic levels. And then again, when this giant wheel starts slowing down, commitments have been delivered by the UPS or FedEx, and dealerships are just, overstocked, as well as The large wholesalers are overstocked in their fulfillment centers. And again, one of the problems is a lot of the dealerships are selling, the same things as their competition from across town or across the street. So it then goes back to the other trap, which is selling on price rather than selling on quality or features or innovations of the products that that they're supporting in the dealership.
Interesting. I have heard that conversation happen a little bit also. There's a handful of folks that I've talked to that are really heavy with product right now. And you think that what's going on is there's a bit of a race to the bottom to clear out some of this inventory, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, dealerships, again, because of commitments that they made, the products were delivered and sales have slowed down. And so as a result, they don't have open to buy, and what they're looking to do is they're looking to free up some cash and some capital to apply to other areas of their business. So then they're starting to discount in the stores, and the consumers know that. And so they're just going from one dealership to the other to find, the same products at a better price. And again, it's great for the consumer, but it's really bad for the dealership that has, overhead.
That's what I was just going to say. I was going to say, it sounds like it's a little bit of a buyer's market right now, but how is this going to affect then? What can dealerships do you think, in order to kind of right size this ship? What's the solution for this? Do we just have to sell through this inventory and ride it out? What do you think?
Well, that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is looking for something that's unique that other dealerships don't have. And to be able to, as a result, capitalize on brands that aren't being properly supported, and I don't want to say niche brands, but why are some of the bigger online retailers, winning and growing at such a not surprising rate, but such a rapid rate? And that's because, again, of the diversity of products that they're able to offer. That some of the bigger distributors and wholesalers aren't supporting or aren't importing and distributing to them.
That's interesting. I think that's a very interesting point. And obviously, Merlin motorcycle apparel does fall into that category, being relatively new. Well, not new here in the U.S. especially, but now there's like a bit of a new relaunch here in the U.S. that you are in charge of.
Yeah, we've awesome. Merlin's been in the States since 2016, and I've been entrusted to work with my British colleagues to really plant a flag here in the United States and develop a proper dealer network for them coast to coast up into Canada and hopefully eventually down into Mexico too. So quite a bit of work that I signed up for, but I'm up for the challenge. Products being, received extremely well, and new dealers are being opened. So business is on the up and up.
Right on. Well, it's great to talk to you. I love your perspective. Thank you so much for sharing with us some ideas of things that are happening out here in the industry. Thank you, Tex Mawby, for joining us today. For more information about Merlin motorcycle apparel, you can head to merlinbikegear.us.
Thanks, Jacqui.
And thanks again to Tex Mawby for taking the time to chat with me a little bit about what's going on at the dealership level, what's going on with motorcycling, power sports apparel out here. Great conversation. Thanks for taking the time to jump in and chat with us. Now, as far as the rest of today's program, we still have a couple more stories, so hang on tight. We still have a couple more things to tease you with. Today was an episode within an episode within an episode, right, Josh? My next story for today is going to be chatting about the folks over at Moto Guzzi. Some spy pics have been revealed. One of my most favorite things, spy photos are floating around out here on the internet. And that's right, the folks at Moto Guzzi are making an awful lot of, I don't want to say noise because you can't hear anything yet, but an awful lot of visual cues that something is going on over in Italy. And there's something that's going on is the relaunch of a beloved, a bit of an iconic adventure bike for the folks at Moto Guzzi, and that is the Stelvio. That's what's on your screen right now. That is an earlier generation Stelvio on the left, and then some spy photos that have been floating around is the bike on the right. Again, it's a new updated model, but here's why we believe that this is going to be another Stelvio on the way from the folks at Moto Guzzi. Stelvio is a name that brings back fond memories for the folks at Moto Guzzi's adventure motorcycle sold between 2007 and 2017. If you're a fan at the time, there is good news. The Italian bike maker is all set to resurrect the Stelvio in a modern-day avatar and is edged a step closer to reality. Because Piaggio has trademarked the Stelvio name and logo, Piaggio being Moto Guzzi's parent company. The application reads Moto Guzzi V100 Stelvio, only to cement the previous speculation that the ADV will take inspiration from the already on sale and dead sexy. Next slide, please, Ashley. V100 Mandello. This is in line with the first ever leaked images of the upcoming motorcycle, which that bike is on your screen right now. That is the V100 Mandello, which I think is just absolutely gorgeous. That is guesstimated to be the power plant for this next coming adventure bike, where they have trademarked that name. There's a couple of test mules that have been floating around. The photo that you just saw on your screen, it has bodywork and fascia identical to the Mandello. However, instead of road-based alloys, they ride on spoke wheels, which is a little bit of a clue to it having some off-road characteristics. It's also that it has the box on top positioned above the LED headlight. If you go to that other slide, Miss Ashley, we can take a little look at it. It looks like a front radar system that we've already seen on other bikes. If that's the case, the Stelvio would be Moto Guzzi's first ever radar-equipped offering and would enable functions like adaptive cruise control. We also expect a rear radar for blind spot detection and collision warning, along with the Mandello's Rider Aid package, which is ride modes, traction control, and cornering ABS. Again, this is all just kind of a little bit of speculation, Josh. You know I love my spy picks out here, but I, for one, would be super pumped to see the Stelvio be relaunched. Josh, what do you think about these spy picks for the folks at Moto Guzzi?
I mean, this is a market that's, I mean, it's aimed at the 1200 adventure or the 1290 adventure. It's aimed at the GSA or the GS, not the GSA. I mean, big bike, big mileage, go out and just put asphalt behind you type of stuff. When you look at how it has changed from that used to be the Goldwing to now it's these bikes that are doing stuff like that because people want to get out and they want that maneuverability and they want that little bit of sport. Like the Multistrada, I mean, it's a crowded market, but it's been shown that there's room for someone else in here. As long as they do something different and keep Guzzi's kind of pedigree behind them, I think they got a winner. It looks good.
I think it looks wonderful. I do love the Moto Guzzi engine layout, of course. I do love the fact that it's a shaft-driven bike that lends itself to being, less maintenance, more appropriate for people that are doing adventuring, much like the BMW GS. This is a bit of a crowded playing field. I would argue to say that the middleweight field is way more crowded right now. Up here at the top, though, of these ultra heavyweight GS adventure tour type range, I think there's really only 4 or 5 other bikes in this space. I am, however, really stoked to see it, and we're all going to have to wait and see. That's my second story for today. Josh, what do you got going on for your second story?
If you need something to do in October, I know. I'm early to be talking about October. But if you need something to do in October, KTM is having their 18th KTM Adventure Rider Rally in Page, Arizona, October 13th through the 15th. So what this is we talked about their European Adventure Rider Rally a couple of months back. This is the US version of it. This, being in Page, it is right by the Lake Powell Resort is actually where everyone will be staying. You are in northern Arizona. You've got access to southern Utah, and part of this tour will go through the Grand Canyon. It's kind of all the stuff you'd ever want to see on your bike in one spot right there. There are designated loops for all skill levels on each day. You can bring they are having you do groups of 2 to 4, so that way it's not too crowded. We all know that if you're in the back of a dusty ride and you're the 10th guy, life just sucks and you can't see anything anyways. So they're sending people out in 2 to 4, so that way you can actually see some of the scenery. That being said, bring your spot and or GPS communicator, as you have to have them for this. You are out where cell phones do not work, and when the proverbial fan needs a pressure washing, they want to make sure that you can get in touch with someone. With this, it includes a t-shirt, a hat, dinner Thursday through Saturday, and breakfast Friday through Sunday, all for $350 is all. If your significant other wants to come along and just sit at the campground and knit, well, they don't have to cook. They can get all the meals and nothing else for $175, which to me is still a darn good deal. Take the family out and then tell the family, hey, I need to go do something, disappear off on a ride for 7-8 hours, come back. And then serve them dinner with that. I mean, to me, KTM does this stuff right. There's all sorts of chances to ride their bikes. You can meet all sorts of KTM sponsored riders there. It's a great thing. We've talked about these ambassador rides and how they just bring more people into the fold. I think it's a great idea, and they're going to do it. I mean, if I had the opening on my calendar, I'd probably be trying to sign up for this. Would you, Jacqui?
Oh gosh, yes. For what, $350? Yeah. This is the bargain of the century.
Correct.
Yeah, I'd be all over this in a split
week's worth of
second.
groceries.
If anybody at KTM wants to watch Josh and I do this 2-up, that way I can film it, go ahead and please reach out directly.
That would be exciting.
Let us know. Stick it in the comments. I think that would be a hoot. And
lots of screaming.
Well worth the $350 price of admission for that alone. Oh my goodness. Bravo, KTM. I do love these curated experiences. I know we bring them up to you with frequency here on the program. Josh and I are huge fans of these. I mean, come on, let's face it. This is what motorcycling is all about, right? It's about this community. It's about going out and having an adventure and seeing new stuff. Fun. So I'm here for it. I love it. And that will be the end of today's program. Woo! Josh, I promised she was going to be action-packed. She was going to be busy, and I was not wrong. Now, don't forget, go take a nap, old-timer. The rest of you, if you want more information about some of today's stories, as well as links to all of our previous episodes and more in-depth articles and coverage, make sure you head on over to our parent website, which is motorcyclepowersportsnews.com. Our features for this month are going to be a little bit EV heavy, but heck, we talk about everything over there, so make sure you go ahead and go check it out. Have a great day, everybody, and we will see you next week. Ride safe.
Good night.